Hello, welcome back to Simon's Rants. I'm Simon, and today I'm giving my first thoughts on Borat 2. It's got a longer name, I don't care. Also, real quick before I get into my first thoughts on Borat 2, I want to make an announcement that I'm actually going to be doing a lot of these this week. I'm trying to catch up a bit on a bunch of these that I missed from earlier in the year, so you'll see a bunch more this week. And so because of that, I won't be doing a regular video this weekend. I'm just going to be doing a bunch of these this week, and then I'll go back to my normal schedule after that. Also, please check out my It review. I posted it 2 days ago, and it got blocked, and I had to go through the whole appeal process, which takes 2 days, 48 hours before it's viewable, so please check that out if you haven't seen it yet. Alright, now on with the thoughts. Well, that was a movie. So, I didn't grow up with the first Borat. I didn't see it when it first came out. I didn't see it until this year when I found out that they were doing a Borat 2. And then I realized, why haven't I seen this yet? I should check it out because I need to see the second one, and so therefore I need to see the first one first. And I liked it a lot. I thought it was very creative, I thought it was funny, and I thought it was brand new, and nobody had done anything like that before. However, 14 years later, the world has changed. We've had a bunch of prank videos and social experiment videos that were all over YouTube for years. They were really big 5-8 years ago, probably because of this, honestly. And so now to make another full-length movie about it seems kind of unnecessary. It seems like you shouldn't make another movie. Maybe it should be a YouTube series, but this is not only old, but it's been done so many times that why would anybody care about it again? And for a lot of this movie, I really was asking myself that, like, this probably could have been better as a YouTube series, or he was doing stuff on TikTok for a while. Why do we need a full-length movie? This just isn't anything new or special or different in any way. However, my opinion did change around the halfway mark, somewhere around there. This movie got better as it went. When it first started, I didn't like it. I really didn't like it at all. And it slowly went from like a 4 to a 5 to a 6 to now I'm really close to a 7 with this, which is also what I would give the first one. And I don't want to say that this is better than the first one, but parts of it are, really. This one goes places that I can't talk about. I cannot talk about it. You should just see it. If you think you might like it, if you like the first one, then watch this one. And if you don't like the first half hour, the first 45 minutes to an hour of it, don't stop, keep going. If it was just for the last half hour of this movie, that's all that matters. Watch that last half hour. I took notes. You might not be able to read this right here, but what that says right there is, holy shit, they went there. I would say that this movie was good by accident, but that's not really true because this movie was made hilarious by genuine geniuses behind it. But the movie that they ended up making, I really don't believe was the movie that they set out to make. And as with the first Borat, all the scripted stuff is really hard to get through. What you really care about is the unscripted comedy. The scripted dialogues are painful to get to as they're just ways to set up the next unscripted event. Maybe I'm remembering wrong, but I feel like there was a lot more scripted moments in this one than there were in the first one. And they're so painfully bad, just like in the first one. Maybe even worse, I don't know. But the point is, these moments are so painfully bad that the only thing that makes them worth it is the payoff of the moment. So you can tell that the scripted moment is leading to something funny. You're trying to get from A to B, and it's painfully obvious that you're trying to tie it together somehow. So the payoff of getting to that funny moment is what makes that journey worth it of just putting up with the BS. So if that funny moment isn't funny, then it's just painful the whole time, because you're just walking through these painful steps to get somewhere that isn't even that funny. And that happens a lot in the beginning, and then around the middle it's like 50-50. Sometimes it's hilarious, sometimes it made me want to turn off the movie. And I'm really glad I didn't, because it got better and better and better as it went. Like I said, it went from like a 4 to a 7. That was a wide range of comedy. And so when it really starts to pick up is when the plot of the movie gets distracted, because things start to get weird and tainted by the coronavirus. That's not spoiling anything, it's in the trailers. The plot starts picking up on different things that were happening while they were filming, which was earlier this year when the COVID outbreak first happened. And so that really affects the comedy, and that's when the comedy gets great. So as this movie gets distracted more and more that way, it becomes funny and funnier, at least to me. And so that's why I say it almost felt like it was by accident, because that wasn't, I don't think, the movie that they set out to make, and then the outbreak happened, and that dictated so much of the comedy that they had to do. They weren't able to do most of the stuff that I think they were originally planning to do, but the stuff that they came up with instead was hilarious. And as you get farther and farther into the movie, the funny moments that you have to wait for become more and more worth it. And honestly, the acting in the A to B moments gets a little bit better. Nobody's great in this movie. Nobody's winning an Oscar for their performance, but it gets better, and so you don't have to put up with it as much. And honestly, the funny moments are so funny, you don't mind waiting for them a little bit. What I really want to talk about, and can't talk about, is the last half hour of this movie. That's completely all spoilers, because this movie gets completely derailed, and I love every second of it. Normally in my first thoughts, I do have a spoiler section. I'm not gonna have one. I'm not, because I want you to watch it, and then we can talk about it maybe later. But man, this movie was so beautiful, and I love the comedy. Even in the moments that aren't attached to that derailed moment, I felt like the comedy just got better. Like, this is somewhat of a spoiler, but I'm not going to ruin anything by telling you this, that at one point he goes into a synagogue dressed up as a Jew, and that moment is so funny. I felt horrible for laughing, but man, I laughed a lot. I'm looking through my notes here, and I really don't normally write notes like this. I don't know why I did. I've got like 5 pages of notes, and literally none of it matters, because no, the script isn't good. No, the plot doesn't make any sense. No, nothing matters. But the movie was enjoyable, and I'm really glad that I put up with that rough opening, because it got better and better, and I'm really happy I saw it. Honestly, this is probably going to end up in my top 10 movies of the year list. Now, I know that's not a prestigious thing anymore, because this year the movies have kind of sucked, but I wasn't expecting that out of Borat 2, I'll be honest. And I will be honest that I am still disappointed in some of the moments in this movie. A lot of the moments they hyped up in the trailer weren't actually that good. The trailers weren't even good in general. Like, the trailers did not show nearly how funny this movie actually was, but they hinted at moments that looked like they could be really funny. Like him going to the Pence speech and dressing up as Trump, which was once again in the trailer. That moment lasted all of 2 seconds and wasn't really funny at all. And I guess that's what can happen when nothing's scripted and you're just going for it and seeing what will happen. There's not always going to be a great reaction, you're not always going to have great material, stuff will just fall apart sometimes. But it's kind of disappointing that that was hyped up so much in the trailer, and I thought that was the big thing that we were all going to watch and laugh together at, but it wasn't. And I'm not disappointed in the end, because there were so many other great funny moments, but that moment was the moment I was so excited to see, and the reason I wanted to watch this movie was I thought, if anything's funny in this movie, it's going to be that. And then it wasn't. But luckily, there was plenty of other funny moments. So in the end, yeah, I'll give this movie somewhere between a 6.5 and a 7. I was very surprised. I was surprised I liked the first one as much as I did, and I thought there was no way that they were going to be able to recreate that and make a second one that's just as good. And I really don't know if it is, because overall I feel like it's not as high quality, but the peaks of this movie blew the first one out of the water. They were able to accomplish some things in this movie that, like, I gasped when they did it. Like, I did not expect that. This movie, like I said, you think doesn't need to exist because of all those YouTube prank channels and social experiments. This movie proved why it is superior to all of that within the last half hour of this movie. Nobody on YouTube, nobody else has ever done anything like what he did for comedy purposes in this movie. At least not that I'm aware of. I know Sacha Baron Cohen has talked many times about how close he's come to getting killed or caught, or he's been arrested a million times or whatever. I understand why so much after watching this, because that was some scary shit. Yes, I know I'm teasing this movie hard, and I'm probably making you mad because I'm not talking about spoilers, and I'm sorry to disappoint you that have seen it, because you probably want to hear me talk about the spoilers, but I really just want you to go watch it, because, yeah, it's out there. It's interesting. So check it out if you haven't seen it yet. If that's your type of movie, Mom, you don't want to watch it. You won't find it funny. But hey, a lot of you probably will. So anyway, please like the video if you liked it. Also remember to comment and share. And if you're new here, subscribe. Thanks, guys. Bye.